nightstand before you are fully awake. The screen lights up the ceiling in pale blue. You tap into the banking app and watch the tiny loading circle spin. The balance appears. It is exactly the number you expected, because you also checked it at 11:42 at night, and again at 9:15, and once more during your lunch break. Not a single dollar moved. You just needed the confirmation that nothing had changed. The number hadn't shifted. That somehow feels worse. Somewhere in this same city, another person your age, earning roughly what you earn, doing roughly what you do, has not opened their banking app in 3 full weeks. They cannot tell you their checking balance within $1,000. They sleep the entire night without stirring. The only real difference between your life and theirs is a number in a savings account. My name is Root. Today we are going to walk that number up from absolute zero all the way past $3 million, following one single person the entire way through every level of financial life. Let's begin at the bottom. Level 1, $0 or less. It is a Tuesday. You are 24 years old. You are standing under the harsh fluorescent lights of a discount store, doing price per ounce calculations in your head out loud, because the smaller bottle of ibuprofen works out to a better deal and that 40-cent difference is not something you can ignore right now. You have already pushed the cart past the ramen noodles 3 separate times, quietly debating whether this week allows for both soap and dinner. This is what $0 feels like in the body. It is not a metaphor. It is a Tuesday. About 10% of American households live here permanently, and another 62% visit regularly, bouncing from paycheck to paycheck. Bankrate data shows that 59% of Americans cannot cover a $1,000 emergency using cash they already have. The Federal Reserve puts it even more bluntly, 37% cannot cover $400, and 13% cannot cover that $400 by any method at all, not savings, not credit, not a loan from family. Nothing. So your 2008 Camry needs new brake pads. The repair costs $480. You have $63 until Friday. The options in front of you are not really choices. They are damage control selections. A title loan with $120 in fees. Miss a shift and lose $110 of income. Or keep driving until the rotors wear down into a $900 repair instead. You pick the cheapest disaster available. Researchers at Princeton studied what financial scarcity does to the brain and found it costs you roughly 13 IQ points while you are living inside it. The system does not just make you poor. It makes you worse at escaping poverty. You are making the largest decisions of your life with the smallest amount of cognitive capacity available to you. On top of that, 62% of personal bankruptcies in this country involve a medical component. And 78% of those people had health insurance at the time. At $0, you are not simply broke. You are one bad Tuesday away from a crisis that could follow you for a decade. You check the app again at 3 in the morning. The balance is what you knew it would be. Somehow that is the worst part. Level 2, $1,000. You are 25. You have just hit a 4-digit savings balance for the very first time in your adult life. You take a screenshot. You might even text it to your mother. Financial advisors call this the first real milestone, and they are right to treat it that way. It is the first time the number has a comma in it. That feels meaningful because it is. But you will also learn very quickly what $1,000 is not. It is not 1 month of rent in any large city. It is not a transmission replacement. It is not an emergency room copay plus the follow-up visits. In a high-yield savings account, your $1,000 earns you roughly $40 a year, about $3 a month. Enough to buy the nicer cheese once. 2 weeks after you stick that screenshot to the refrigerator, the water heater gives out. The replacement costs $1,100. You are back to zero, plus $100 on a credit card. The screenshot is still on the fridge. Every time you open it for something, it stares back at you with what feels like mild sarcasm. Even Dave Ramsey has quietly admitted that $1,000 was never meant to be a true emergency fund. It was designed to stop you from losing emotional momentum the moment life breaks something. It is a behavioral tool wearing the costume of a financial tool. But here is the thing that matters: you checked the banking app this week only once. Not 3 times. Not every night. Once. The anxiety is getting quieter. Level 3, $10,000. You are 28. For years of paying down debt, picking up extra shifts, and packing the same $7 lunch the night before, you now have a genuine emergency fund for the first time in your adult life. Here is what that actually feels like in your body on an ordinary Thursday afternoon. Your mechanic calls. The transmission is gone. The repair bill is $3,200. In every single year before this one, that phone call would have triggered a full physical stress response: the stomach drop, the cold sweat, the spiral. This time, you just say, "Okay, go ahead, I will come get it Saturday." And then you go back to whatever you were doing. That is what $10,000 actually purchases. Not freedom. Sleep. You are now somewhere in the 55th to 65th percentile of emergency savings among Americans your age. You have roughly 3 months of essential expenses covered. If you lost your job tomorrow, you could actually search for the right job instead of panic applying to warehouse listings on a Sunday night because rent is in 9 days. You do not check the banking app at 3 in the morning anymore. You barely check it at all. The math still stings a little. $10,000 in a high-yield account earns you about $400 a year. In index funds at 7%, it earns $700. But if you are also carrying $5,000 in credit card debt at 22% interest, you are paying $1,100 a year to earn $700. That is financial self-harm. Roughly a third of Americans are doing exactly this right now and calling themselves responsible with money. Nobody warns you about what comes next. Getting to $10,000 was the hardest stretch of your financial life so far. Every single dollar came from saying no to something: a dinner, a weekend away, a version of yourself that other people seem to be living freely. You felt the weight of every one of those numbers. You earned this. And now the quiet middle section begins. This is exactly where most people quietly stop. Not dramatically. Not all at once. The dinners slowly come back. A new piece of furniture happens. A raise arrives and gets absorbed into lifestyle. They are 33 years old. They have $12,000 saved. They have had $12,000 saved for 4 years. They cannot explain why the number stopped moving. Here is why. Level 4, $35,000. You are 32. You got 2 raises. You bought your first couch that did not come from a Facebook Marketplace listing. And you felt guilty about it. Genuinely guilty. Some part of your brain, the part that was forged under those Dollar Tree fluorescent lights years ago, whispered that you should not have spent that money. You almost returned it the next morning. You kept the couch. But the whisper stayed. That whisper is the reason you are sitting at $35,000 instead of $3,500. You are now in the 75th to 85th percentile of liquid savings for your age group. Your boss calls you into the conference room on a Tuesday. You walk in without sweating because you know that if this conversation turns ugly, you have 8 months of runway. You could walk out. You do not, because you actually like the job. But the option changes your entire posture in the chair. This is what nobody explains about savings. The point is not the purchasing power. The point is the power itself. But this is also the sneakiest trap in all of personal finance, and you need to understand it clearly before you fall into it. At $35,000 liquid plus a starter retirement account, you are roughly average for your age group. Meanwhile, every ad, every TV show, every car commercial is calibrated to the lifestyle of the top 5% households with nearly $2 million or more. So you feel behind when you are statistically average. And when people feel behind, they do expensive, impulsive things. They take out home equity loans to renovate. They buy the truck the coworker drives. They trade a car that was working perfectly fine. The couch guilt is the mindset that built this tier. The social comparison is the force that will dismantle it. Every wealthy person worth studying had some version of that guilty whisper permanently installed. Most people turn it off somewhere around 35,000. You have to keep it running. Level 5, $100,000. You are 36. The account crossed 6 figures last week. You told no one. This is what Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's longtime partner and one of the sharpest financial thinkers of the past century, was talking about when he said the first 100,000 is the hardest part. You just have to get there by any means necessary. After that, you can ease up. Munger said that in the late 1990s. Adjusted for inflation, his $100,000 is worth closer to $200,000 in 2026 money. The threshold shifted. The math behind it did not. Because at $100,000, something genuinely mechanical changes in how wealth grows. Here is the actual math. If you contribute $12,000 a year and earn 7% returns, it takes roughly 6.8 years to reach $100,000. During that entire stretch, your contributions made up about 81% of the total. Your investment returns only did 19% of the work. You did nearly all of it yourself. But the next 100,000 takes less time and less effort from you. Around a balance of $171,000, your annual returns start exceeding your annual contributions. From that point forward, your money is working harder than you are every single day, and it never stops. It only accelerates. This is the whole reason Munger said the first 100,000 is the difficult one. The entire game changes direction right here. Only about 40% of U.S. households ever cross $100,000 in total net worth. The median household does not reach it until their late 30s to mid-40s. Even within retirement accounts specifically, the average 401k balance across all ages sits at just around $146,000. If you are at 6 figures before age 40, you are genuinely ahead, regardless of what the social media highlight reel is showing you. Level 6, $250,000. You are 41. Here is the part that should feel almost too good to be true. If you stopped contributing today, completely, permanently, never added another dollar, and simply left the money alone at a 7% real return, that account would grow to roughly $1.3 million by the time you reached 65. Without doing anything else. You just have to not touch it. This is called Coast Fire. It means the retirement portion of your financial life is already handled. The rest of your paycheck does not need to go toward retirement anymore. You can use it to actually live, to travel, to work fewer hours, to take the risk you have been sitting on for the past decade. Almost nobody explains this to people when they hit this number. It is one of the least talked about milestones in personal finance. But I also want you to meet a couple. Combined household income of $286,000 a year. Investment accounts at $168,000. Credit card debt at $65,000. A home equity line of credit at $97,000. Total liquid savings, $2,000. The husband owns $6,000 worth of bicycles he will not give up. A financial advisor looked at their situation and said, if you lose your job, you have enough money to survive for 4 or 5 days. Read that again. 4 or 5 days on $286,000 a year. That is not financial security. That is a performance of financial security. And it is happening inside thousands of households earning well into 6 figures. Income alone does not save anyone. There is no salary large enough to outrun undisciplined behavior. The people who actually reach this level and stay here, the ones who turn $250,000 into $500,000 into $1 million, are the ones who kept the couch guilt voice active. They looked at the $286,000 lifestyle and quietly said no thank you. You are one of those people. Level 7, $500,000. You are 46. $500,000. Top 25% of all U.S. households. The median American never reaches this number at any point in their life at any age. And here is where something changes in your body that you do not have a clean word for. You stop checking your portfolio daily because the daily swings are now larger than your monthly contributions were 5 years ago. A 3% down day costs you $15,000 on paper. A 3% up day gives you 15,000. The numbers are no longer about your choices. They are about the market, and the market does not know you exist. In a strong year, when the SP 500 returns 20 or 25%, a $500,000 portfolio produces $125,000 in gains just by sitting there while you sleep. That is more money than the median American household earns at an actual job. Your money now has a better paying job than most people do. But this is also where the hedonic treadmill spins the fastest. A couple with a net worth of $2.18 million and a household income of $450,000 described themselves in a 2024 interview as living paycheck to paycheck. Top 5% by wealth. Top 1% by income. Still feeling financially squeezed. Because wealth is always relative and the reference group upgrades automatically every time the balance goes up. The trick at 500,000 is identical to the trick at 1,000. Keep the couch guilt running. Your lifestyle wants to expand to fill whatever space your balance creates. Every expensive habit, every social comparison, every you have earned this thought is the same old enemy wearing a much nicer outfit. The people who retire early from this tier are the ones who locked their annual spending somewhere around $60,000 to $80,000 and simply kept letting the portfolio grow. The math from here is not complicated at all. The discipline is the game. That is the whole game. Level 8, $1 million. You are 52. 7 figures. The mythical millionaire. You walk into your kitchen on a Tuesday morning and make coffee. Nothing feels different. Nothing looks different. The word millionaire carries every cultural image from the past 100 years: yachts, tailored suits, Monaco. The reality is that you are standing in a fleece pullover looking at a brokerage statement. In 2026, around 18% of U.S. households have a 7-figure net worth. That is roughly 24 million households. America produced over 1,000 new millionaires every single day in 2024. The average age of a U.S. millionaire is 61. And here is the deflating math that almost nobody wants to say out loud. $1 million at the standard 4% safe withdrawal rate produces $40,000 a year. $40,000 a year is below the median household income in this country. Your grandparents' million bought a yacht. Your million buys you a paid-off house in a mid-sized city and a Costco membership. A 2025 Schwab survey found that Americans now say you need $2.3 million to feel wealthy. And only 36% of actual millionaires consider themselves wealthy. Let that number settle for a moment. I want to tell you about Ronald Read, because his is the only millionaire story that truly matters. Ronald Read was a gas station attendant and a department store janitor in Vermont. He drove a 2007 Toyota Yaris. He held his coat closed with a safety pin. Every morning he ate an English muffin with peanut butter at the hospital cafeteria. Regular customers at the local diner sometimes paid for his meal because they assumed he was unhoused. When Ronald Read died in 2014 at age 92, the contents of his safe deposit box revealed $8 million in individual dividend stocks: AT&T, Bank of America, CVS, Deere, General Electric. He left $1.2 million to the local library. He left $4.8 million to the hospital. Ronald Read did not have $1 million. He had 8. And the people who felt sorry for him at the diner never knew it. That is what a millionaire actually looks like. And here is the part that genuinely unsettled me when I first encountered it. Above this number, $1 million, $2 million, 3, the problems do not disappear. They do not even shrink. They just change into different clothes. The stress remains. The cortisol remains. The 3 in the morning check-in comes back wearing a new disguise. The nervous system does not retire just because the portfolio did. Level 9, $3 million or more. You are 55. $3 million puts you in the top 7% of U.S. households. Not the top 1%. That club requires 15 million or more. But this is real, actual, multi-generational wealth. 3 million at a 4% withdrawal rate produces $120,000 a year, inflation adjusted, for the rest of your life, while you spend your time however you choose. This is also where the FIRE movement's vocabulary fully takes over. Lean FIRE at around 1 million. Standard FIRE between 1 and 2.5 million. Chubby FIRE between 2 and 3.75 million. Fat FIRE at 5 million and above. There is an entire community online debating spreadsheets about whether 3.5% or 3.9% is the safer withdrawal rate over a 50-year horizon. I respect them deeply. They are not normal people. But here is what I want you to hear clearly, because it is the entire point of this video. At every single level we just walked through, from the Dollar Tree at $0 to the Coast Fire moment at 250,000, all the way up to 3 million at 55, the amount of financial anxiety people reported experiencing was almost identical. The subject of the worry changed. The cortisol did not. At $0, can I make rent? At 35,000, am I falling behind? At 1 million, will a market crash erase everything I built? At 3 million, is 3 million even enough anymore, especially in a city like San Francisco? Same nervous system. Different costume. Which is why research consistently shows that below roughly $100,000 in wealth, more money genuinely and measurably reduces suffering. Above that line, more money mostly reduces comparison. And comparison is a bottomless well. It was designed to be bottomless. Joseph Heller, who wrote Catch-22, was at a party at a hedge fund manager's house in the Hamptons. Someone leaned over and told him that the host had earned more money in a single trading day than Heller had made from Catch-22 across his entire lifetime. Heller just shrugged. He said, "Yes, but I have something he will never have. I have enough." That is the number almost no one ever actually calculates. And it is the only number that genuinely matters. Your enough is almost certainly smaller than the internet told you it needed to be. It is probably closer to 800,000 than 8 million. It probably does not require a second home or private school tuition. It probably looks like a paid-off house, a boring index fund account you do not check every day, and a Tuesday afternoon where nobody needs anything from you and you have nowhere in particular that you are required to be. So here is what you do tomorrow morning. Look at your current number wherever you are sitting on this ladder and ask yourself one question. Not, how do I get to the next level as fast as possible? The question is this: what is the smallest, most concrete thing I can do this week to stop money from leaking out of the level I am already on? Start there. The math handles everything else from that point forward. You just have to show up for the first step.